Welcome back. Today we have
So,
Supervisor
go ahead and
Lisa
sit down. We got a few minutes.
here with Neal, Kelley, who is in charge of the Registrar of Voters. And I know that there is a very special event that's coming up in November that you're here to tell us about, and it's super important for the viewers to know for sure. So welcome both of you today.
Thank
you.
Good to hear.
So Lisa, tell us what's going on.
Well, you know, with all of the election fraud potentially around the country, now that we've got our November elections coming up, the residents of Orange County want to know that our Orange County election process is secure.
Okay.
And that's why I brought our Registrar of Voters, Neal Kelley, here today to talk about it. You know, Orange County has 3.2 million people. We have 1.5 million registered voters, which is more registered voters than you have in 21 states.
Okay.
So we have a large population of registered voters, and we want to make sure that our system is secure. And Neal Kelley came on board with the county in 2006. A lot of great experience. And I brought him today to talk about the security of our Orange County system.
Okay.
Because people want to know that the electoral process is secure, and that when they cast their ballot and their vote, that everything is locked down and secure in our system.
Okay.
And it certainly is. And I would love to turn it over to Neal Kelley to talk about our Orange County system.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Supervisor, for inviting me today. You know, one of the things that I always tell people right out of the gate is that we started working with the FBI in the spring of 2016. So it's been a couple of years that we've worked very closely with them as well as Homeland Security. And during that time, we've taken an approach on election security on 3 phases. One is the physical side. What are we doing with the building, the chain of custody of ballots, et cetera. The second, which is one of the more important ones, is the cyber side. What are we doing on the security on cyber? And we work very closely with Homeland Security to beef up the cyber security. We're a closed system, and the beauty of that is that you don't have outside network connections to the voting system. And Homeland Security has been in our office for several weeks testing our system diligently, and they've got some very smart cyber folks that do that. And then the third piece is social. So the social piece is, how do employees react? How are they trained when it comes to attempts perhaps to send them an email to click on a link that they shouldn't be clicking on? So there's a lot of training that's going on. The bottom line is we've taken a leadership position on election security nationwide, and I feel very confident in the work we've done with the FBI and Homeland Security.
Okay, so let's talk about the actual security that has been done. So you said the physical election security, cyber, and then social. So if you were to break like cyber down, what would be some of the things that you would talk about?
Yeah, so one of the more important things is we've recently put a monitor on our voter registration system. We're one of only a handful of election jurisdictions around the country that uses what's called an Albert sensor directly on that pipeline for voter registration, and that's monitored 24 hours a day by Homeland Security in Albany, New York.
Okay.
So we're alerted anytime there's an attempted intrusion on that system.
Okay.
Scanning takes place all day long on any system, retail, banking, et cetera, and the same with us. But if someone were to attempt to hack or to code or to get into that network, that's when we're alerted, and we work with Homeland Security to mitigate that as well.
At what point in the election process do you actually see something or could see something? Would it be now or would it be the day of?
That's a great question. I mean, it definitely could be now. Okay. And we're monitoring those systems, and we have been since, like I said, 2016. Activity is ongoing. I mean, I haven't seen the activity slow down from 2016, and when I talk about activity, I'm talking about scanning by foreign entities, and they're doing that, like I said, on all sorts of systems. Okay. But the good news is there's no immediate threats related to Orange County, Southern California, but we have to be diligent in our defenses.
Right. Okay. And then social election, are you talking about maybe advertising, or what do you mean by social?
So there's a couple of components to that. I mean, Facebook, Twitter, social media has certainly a big part and influence in how people view the election or how they make their decisions. We certainly stay out of that, but we get a lot of phone calls related to what's on those platforms.
Okay.
More importantly, though, is what are the employees engaged with? The people that are working day in and day out with elections. Sometimes a bad actor might send an email saying, click this link, you'll get a free cupcake, right? That's a good example. And if the employee were to click that, you could open up malware or intrusions into the system.
Exactly.
So that's an ongoing process we go through to train our employees.
Now, is any of this evident to the voter themselves? I mean, do we see any of that when we vote?
No, and that's also a good question. I mean, it's seamless for the voters. And the good thing about our system in Orange County, in 2007, the state did a top to bottom review, and hacked into all of the systems statewide. The only one they couldn't get into was Orange County's and San Mateo County. We both have the same system. And so we were able to beef up the security on the system based on the state's review. And so I'm proud to say that the board made a great decision back in 2003 in bringing on this system, but it is aging. So we need to start looking towards the future of improving that system.
Okay. Well, good to know, because there's a lot of things that have been going on in the country about voting, and I know with the whole election a while ago, we obviously had some concerns about other people, so good to know that you're on top of it. In terms of pre-election voter registration, how is that all going?
It's going great, actually. There's more activity this cycle than the presidential in 2016.
Wow.
So this is an example, about 110,000 registrations since July, and if you compared that to 2016, there was 64,000.
Oh, wow.
So now, does that translate into ballots cast? We don't know until we get to election day, but the activity is certainly much higher.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So with a higher activity with voter registration, we're anticipating that more people will turn out at the polls and certainly cast their votes. So it's a good thing.
Exactly, good. And then vote by mail. Now, this was something that I always find very interesting, because you get your ballots ahead of time, and then you get the one what's the thing called where you
sample
look at
ballot?
the sample ballot. Thank you. And then after that, you do get your ballot. So at what point can you actually mail it? Does it have to be arriving on the day of, or can it go after?
So you can mail your ballot in California now on election day.
Oh, okay.
And as long as it arrives in our office within 3 days, your ballot's going to be valid.
Okay.
And most first-class postage, will arrive the next day.
Okay.
We are mailing today over 1 million ballots to voters, so they should start seeing those arrive in their mailboxes in the next day or so.
Okay. All right. What are some things that they should be looking for on the ballot right now? I mean, is there anything important that they should be noticing?
Well, I always tell voters that they take the time, and I'm glad you brought up the sample ballot, to look at that before they go. If they're going to vote in person, fill that out before you get to your polling place. It'll save time, and it'll help you, it'll be a smoother process for you.
Okay.
So that's the main thing, is look at those instructions and look at that sample ballot.
Okay. All right. And then let's talk about the demographics. More women, more men. What are you seeing in Orange County?
So women actually in Orange County are registered at higher rates and turn out at higher rates than men by about 3 percentage points.
Huh.
And I always thought, well, perhaps that's because women tend to live a little bit longer than men on average, but it's the opposite in other counties. So Orange County women are doing a great job of registering to vote and getting out and voting.
Okay, and paying attention to those subjects for sure. All right, let's talk about some of the breakdown in terms of parties. What do you have?
That's narrowed over the years. So just in the last year, we've seen the Republicans and the Democrats come a little bit closer together. It's about roughly 34% for the Dems and about 36% for the Republicans. The fastest growing of all the categories is no party preference. So that continues to grow pretty quickly. That's at about 27% now.
And then when you say no party, what does that really mean?
Well, it essentially means you're not affiliating with any qualified party. So really the only effect it has on you is in a presidential primary. And that's when you may or may not be able to participate in the partisan primary. Other than that, you're treated just like every other voter.
Okay, okay. And then when somebody who is a no party affiliation looks on that ballot, they might have more reading to do, because they may not go, oh, just Republican or Democrat. They might have more reading to do about the actual candidate.
In a partisan primary, you're correct.
Right, right. Okay, good. Okay, so what are some of the dates that we should remember? We have the ballots are coming out.
October 9th.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are being mailed. The last day to apply for a vote by mail ballot is October 30th. So if you haven't done so, you've got some time.
Okay.
An important date also is October 22nd, which is the last day to register to vote.
Okay.
If you miss that deadline, you can still come to our office in Santa Ana, but you can't do it online anymore. You have to come in and do it.
Okay.
So those are kind of the key important dates, and then obviously November 6th, which is
And then November
election
6th
day.
is our actual date. Okay, very good. What is your take on the whole voting process?
I think it's important for everyone to really perform their civic duty and to get out and vote. And when people talk about the elections and, well, I'm just one person voting, I don't know if it'll make a difference, I can tell you that based on prior elections, there have been candidates that have won by 3 votes.
Wow.
So it's so important for everyone to get out there and cast their vote on November 6th or mail in their ballot early.
Right, and if you want any change, then you definitely need to participate for sure.
Yes.
Okay, so you have an event that's coming up on October 20th, the South County Disaster Preparedness Expo. What's that going to do?
This is an event that I have every year. I'm really excited about the event this year, October 20th, 9 to 12 at the Norman P. Murray Center in Mission Viejo. Okay. We have the Sheriff's Department out there with vehicles, the Fire Department and their vehicles and personnel. We have about 3,000 people that attend every year, and the attendance keeps growing. We have a lot of activities all day for the family, and giveaways. We have our county departments that are represented there, so you can learn about county government and what each of our 24 departments do.
That's good.
So it's a great day. It's educational, it's fun, it's family friendly, and we encourage everyone to come out, bring their dogs on leashes. We see a lot of people bringing their pets.
Oh, good. That's nice. You know, you do see people with their pets everywhere these days, so that's good that you have them come out. And you know, there's been some disasters in a variety of different areas now in other countries, and so not that we would really have to worry about a tsunami here, but nevertheless, being prepared is so important for all disasters.
Yes, especially for our seniors, because it's important to have, you know, the white bucket with the checklist of what you need. So if you get that 20-minute phone call that you've got to leave your house, you know what to take with you and to be prepared. And that's the main emphasis of the Preparedness Expo, is in the event of any kind of emergency, make sure that you're prepared. Make sure you've got Alert OC on your app, on your phone, so that you get notified of all of the locations for evacuation if we need to evacuate. But so just be prepared for any type of emergency, whether it's earthquake, fire, flood. Always best to be prepared and be ready to go on a moment's notice.
Exactly. Well said. Well said. Well, thank you both for being here. Appreciate it. Good luck with all the voting. We appreciate your help. Thank you.
Thank you.
And remember, November 6th is the voting day, and then October 20th is the Disaster Preparedness Expo. We'll be right back after this. Nice. Thank you.